Is everyone here? All right. Good evening. Good evening, Malaysia, and good evening, India. A lot of love comes to you today on Easter Sunday. I had a quite a cool day actually. I woke up, did my little bit of dance music and exercise, and fixed myself a big huge bowl of fruit for my breakfast because I've kind of completely overturned and overhauled my diet for health reasons. And then I met my friend Tessie at BSE for a good coffee, tea, cake, and savories that we kind of ate and catch up, did like a catch up after a very long time. And absolutely amazing to meet up with Tessie and talk about our 2022 plans, because she's also a professional in the life coaching space, and I really like her and I respect her. And a lot of ideas were shared, and I told her I have to rush back home because I have heart to host. So, welcome everyone. Find your page, which is my page, Ethel Da Costa, on Facebook, and log in and stay put there for almost like a 60-minute conversation. I have two absolutely awesome gentlemen joining me from India. As we know, the topic is around ecotourism, incredible India, because we look at ourselves as the promoters of the incredible India concept. They all have also launched a very powerful plan for to encourage tourism in 2022. We know for sure that Incredible India also gives a lot of focus, especially this year, to ecotourism, to supporting and encouraging entrepreneurs who are in the business of ecotourism, and to also ensure that ecotourism is a sustainable plan for all entrepreneurs who are getting into this very new niche. And I think it's a well thought of niche, and it's a need of the hour to encourage a lot of travelers now to kind of uh, declutter our city spaces and go more into nature for the purpose of health, healing, holistic living, giving back to our contribution to nature conservation, environment conservation, making sure that all our our the hustle bustle that has been part of our past lives, to find some sort of balance. And for that, I have Captain Suresh Sharma, who's joined from some very remote place. I see his backdrop, beautiful, kind of, he's perched on a hillock. He's told me that he had to kind of really make the effort to find a good network for himself so he could, join in the conversation. So I really appreciate that, Captain Sharma, and he will join us very soon now. I also have my dear old friend Inder Jit Singh, the founder of Spa Ashram, Ganga Beach Retreat in Rishikesh. As most of my friends know, I've lived there. I had a great uh, rejuvenating holiday, I should say, completely, in the bosom of Mother Ganga. And those 5 days that I spent there at Spashram are unforgettable for me. So Inder Jit Singh will share with us, how it all came about, why he's such an eco warrior in his space, and why it is so required today to kind of to take care of nature and look after it, and also become, its promoters and supporters of it. So thank you very much for everyone who's joining into Heart to Heart with Ethel Da Costa. Heart to Heart is in association with the Mac Clinic in Malaysia. It is Malaysia's premier premium aesthetic institution, ably led by Dr. Hugh, who is the medical officer of the Mac Clinic, and he will also join us tonight on travel and beauty and a whole lot of things that the Mac Clinic is also doing in the space of wellness and holistic beauty. And I'm really, really glad that they are my partners. I really like them very much. And through them, I also kind of educated myself on how to take care of myself too. So, welcome to yet another Sunday of Heart to Heart with Ethel Da Costa. Happy Easter to everyone who is joining in. And let me bring on online with us Captain Suresh Sharma, who is the founder of Green Dot Expeditions. And he will tell us what all Green Dot Expeditions is currently doing, why it is such a kick ass novel concept, and why he, is such an outdoor person himself. So hang on, let me just bring on Captain Suresh Sharma. Captain Sharma, are you there?
Yeah.
A big hello to you from Kuala Lumpur.
Oh, thank you very much.
How was the weather your side, Captain Sharma?
Very cool. Right now, temperature must be about 18-20 degree
Okay,
Celsius.
okay. And is it like a setting sun there? Or what is it?
Yeah, sun is going to set maybe another half an hour, 45 minutes maybe.
Okay, okay, great. So that gives us enough time to kind of,
Yeah,
wrap up, what we have to do too. So great. So
yeah.
welcome to Heart with Ethel Da Costa.
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure to have you online, and thank you for the effort that you've made to find your network and get yourself in one spot, because that is what we were discussing, when we were backstage, so to say. And I'm very keen myself to understand what Green Dot Expeditions is all about and how did this entire idea come about, Captain Sharma?
I have a background of the Indian Army. I served as an officer with the Indian Army. And
Hmm.
before that, my father, when I was a toddler, small kid, he used to take me to a nearby jungle. And the day I will be a little lazy, he will say, "Oh, I showed you that partridge, I showed you that peacock, that rabbit." So I used to go out with him. So the love for outdoors started when I was very small.
Okay.
And when I joined the Indian Army, and it took me places, it took me to jungles. I was part of operations in Sri Lanka for 1.5 years as Indian peacekeeping force soldier.
Hmm.
So I spent a lot of time in jungles. And then after leaving the army, I mean, I left the career of the Indian Army for the love of wildlife,
Okay.
and for I started working for wildlife films, and I was
Mm-hmm.
lucky that I was part of two wildlife films, which were for the National Geographic.
Oh,
So I
nice.
learned about snakes from my father, and I learned about snakes from Dr. Indranil Das, who is currently teaching in Malaysia.
Oh, I've heard of
Yeah,
Dr. Das. I've heard of Dr. Das actually.
yeah,
Yes.
Dr. Das is a very well known herpetologist.
Hmm. Okay.
So then I felt that why shouldn't I really educate people about snakes and snake bite?
Yes.
Because now the mission is saving innocent snakes, ignorant people, because snakes don't know that they'll get beaten up when they walk into any place, because for them there's no boundary, there's no political
Yes.
boundary.
Yes, absolutely.
So, and people are not aware of them. People are ignorant because the information doesn't reach them, and people are struggling. People are busy earning their livelihood and making their life run.
Right.
So, for them, I can say nature conservation comes secondary.
Hmm.
And we have been in the habit of rather we have survived, and our survival is with the nature and by
Hmm.
exploiting the natural resources. So but the problem is we have over exploited the
Hmm.
natural resources,
Yes, you're right.
and now we have reached a stage when we do not have the liberty to use wood for fire.
Hmm.
Now now the time has come when we need to educate people that we have been exploiting this like a bank account, but we have never put anything back in the bank account. People
Hmm.
have forgotten that you need to put it back in the bank account. Now
Correct.
there was a time, there was a time, there was a time when it was like a rich man's bank account, and it could sustain for years. But
Correct.
now we have been using this bank account for long without putting it back anything. Now the
Hmm.
time has come. We need to earn back to nature. Rather,
Correct.
leave nature alone. It will do its best possible for you.
Hmm.
And as they said, nature has got enough for your needs, but not
Yes.
for your greed. Not for
Yes.
your greed. So when I started really enjoying nature, and I felt it's my duty, like if anybody's father gives a car to the son, it is the duty of the son to maintain the car,
Correct.
do the basic
Correct.
servicing. So that way I started feeling that I must do my duty as a good human being. If I'm educated by the society,
Mm.
I must do something for the society. So that is what I'm doing now. And then I thought, okay, how to go about it? Because any effort you need to put in, it
Correct.
needs some money. I mean,
Yes.
even if you want to walk, you need food in your stomach, and
Sure.
that you have to earn. So everybody on earth earns and spends. But
Mm.
then I thought, if I want to really dedicate my life fully to the nature conservation efforts, then I need to find some ways where I can do the both.
Mm.
So
Mm.
I started educating people through tourism,
Okay.
because I can raise my funds through tourism, and also I can bring people to a location and show them what kind of impact their thinking can make, their
Mm.
effort can make.
Mm.
So it's a win-win situation.
Right.
Like, people come on a wonderful holiday with us, and then that money we use for our nature conservation efforts. So
Correct.
we
But
don't have any NGO.
right.
I wanted to be a free bird,
Mm.
and I raised this, me and my wife, Green Dot Expeditions, because
Okay.
22 years ago, when I wanted to educate people, I mean, we started about 26 years ago this snake educational program,
Okay.
and it was difficult to go to villages and stay there, because villagers could not really host us,
Mm.
and their environment was totally different, where my colleagues, my team members were not used to. I could rough it out, but people
Right.
could not rough it out in the villages in India. So we also didn't want to be burden on them. So
Mm.
I made a caravan. My
Mm.
first
Okay.
caravan,
Yeah.
it's named King Cobra, in the
Okay.
praise of snakes.
Mm.
In the praise of snakes. So
Okay.
we started going to school, colleges. We started doing trips. Like, we went on very long trip to South India. We did 6 months on the roads. We
Okay.
had a lap. We had a lap baby. Our daughter was only 6 months old
Mm.
when we went on a long trip of 12,000 kilometers, and we were educating people about snakes and snake bite on the roads, petrol bunks, schools, colleges, wherever people asked me, what is this
Yes.
vehicle all about? Because
Right.
on the vehicle there were snakes, and it was
Mm.
written in the praise of snakes. So
Okay.
people asked me, what is it all about?
Mm.
So then later I felt, okay, I need to give quality to people
Correct.
in tourism.
Correct.
And I was not very happy. You go to a small hotel or a big hotel or a transporter or food and all. Everywhere you get surprised, sometimes pleasant, sometimes unpleasant,
Mm.
because food is not up to the mark, or food is not up to your taste and the palate. So
Correct.
I wanted to take my guests with total guarantee of good service. I mean,
Mm.
the kind of quality I would love to give to them. So I
Correct.
didn't want to be dependent on others. So I and my wife and me, we discussed about doing making an overland truck. And
Mm.
everybody in India, the concept of caravan is not there. Now, after Corona, they have woken up.
Yes.
And when we wanted to make a truck like this, people thought we are crazy. We are
Mm.
off our head. Uh, I said, fine. I mean, that's the way we are. I mean, the
Correct.
moment people call you off your head, then
Yeah.
you are doing something. You're doing something. You're not in the run of the mill, in the rat race of the worldly
Yes.
affairs.
You're
So
not like how I call it. You're not just another brick in the wall.
yeah, you were not. And then we started building this truck, and this, I mean, people were really surprised.
Mm.
People did not believe that it has taken shape. It took me almost 1.5 years to build that truck, because we had to get a lot of things from abroad. Nothing was available in India, because
Mm-hmm.
there's no concept of caravans. So
Correct.
basically, the idea is, on board Taurus, we
Okay.
don't use any disposable items.
All right.
We don't give people paper napkins. We give cloth.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't use any disposable glasses, plates, cutlery, crockery, nothing.
Nice.
And we have started removing every plastic part of it. And with the
Okay.
mugs, stainless steel mugs we have got, And
Okay.
instead of having a plastic water storage,
Hmm.
recently we have built 1000 liters of stainless steel food grade trailer. So we we can carry good water, not in plastic, because
Right.
it is not healthy to have plastic around,
Yes.
water in the plastic tank.
Correct.
And now what we are doing, we have started slowly telling people the
Hmm.
bonfire is only for your pleasure,
Hmm.
it's not for your necessity.
Hmm.
And the wood in the Himalayas or Ladakh or Rajasthan, where wood is very scarce,
Right.
that is for their survival, not for pleasure, not for our pleasure.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
I tell people that okay, if your survival is at stake, you get stuck somewhere in a snowfall and
Correct.
roadblock, then
Yes.
fine, you can burn wood, but not otherwise.
Right.
So we have been able to convey this message to people very successfully.
Mm-hmm.
Though I believe instead of giving lecture to 1000 people, those are herded into a hall,
Hmm.
it's better to talk to 10 people, those are willing to listen to you.
Correct.
And also we have developed a knack to convey a message to people that nature conservation is not by raising slogans, by doing
Hmm.
protests,
Yeah.
or
Absolutely.
by spending money.
Correct.
I tell people, when you do nature conservation, you save money.
Hmm. Right.
How? You save paper, you save money in a year, maybe worth 2000 rupees. You save electricity, you save worth 10,000 rupees. So, this is the way we calculate, and we tell people that nature conservation is not burden on you. Nature
Mm-hmm.
conservation is rather going to help you save
Right.
your money, your resources, and your
Correct.
life is better. So, this is the aim of Green Dot Expeditions, taking people to the laboratory, the
Hmm.
nature, where they
Okay.
can see, they can feel that how their efforts. We tell people it's not the government, it is
Hmm.
not a big organization which has to make a difference.
Correct.
Every individual can make a difference.
Correct.
Every single individual makes such a significant impact that it will make it successful. That's why we named it as a green dot, because everyone who will come on our trip will be called as a green dot. So
Hmm.
by putting dots over the earth, every
Hmm.
individual will put a green dot on the earth, and that will be it will make it greener.
Wow. That sounds really awesome, Captain Sharma. I have a question for you. So, how many
Yeah.
trucks of those kinds do you have?
We have got two vehicles of this kind,
Okay.
uh, but our plan was to build more.
Hmm.
Uh, but the corona thing has really
Sure.
spoiled the plan.
Okay.
But
So
now
that.
we have got two trucks,
Hmm.
I mean truck and King Cobra, and we have also built three trailers of different kinds.
Okay.
And now we are going to add on as we are experimenting. We are making the designs.
Okay.
So yeah, it's going to increase.
So if me as a traveler, if I want to hire a truck, is that how that it works? That I hire it and then I drive it?
Yeah, you can hire a truck, and also you can come on a uh, you can hire a truck, and you can come on a package. You can stay with us for 2 nights in a static
Okay.
camp also. We
Okay.
offer in two modes, one is
Oh,
static, one is mobile.
wow. That sounds like complete fun. Absolutely
Yeah,
fun. And I'm
because
sure.
when you want to come on a short trip,
Hmm.
we operate in a very short radius,
Okay.
and then in that short radius, idea is, on a
Hmm.
short trip you don't spend time on the road.
Correct. Yeah. Okay.
So we
So,
change spots, but we change spots. We call it camp that changes spots.
okay. Understood. All right. I also want to know because you seem so passionate about conservation and giving back to nature. What is your take on ecotourism as the new incredible India mantra to get conscious travelers to India?
Say again, there was some disruption.
Yes, I was saying, what is your take on ecotourism as the new as a new mantra, launched by Incredible India also to get to India the conscious traveler?
Yeah, see, it is mostly, I mean, some people, those will hear this.
Hmm.
Um, most of these places it's on the paper,
Right.
and some individuals are making difference,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because we need to educate people. We need
Correct.
to educate the host, that is
Yes.
the travel agent and the tour operators and the guest house owners and camp operators and resort owners,
Correct.
because it is everybody who has to put in effort. What is happening now? They go to Ladakh, and
Hmm.
everyone, I say everyone without exception, they
Okay.
ask for bonfire. Bonfire.
Hmm. All right.
They want to drink around a bonfire,
Right.
and they want to enjoy life. So
Correct.
they need to educate people, and also education alone doesn't work,
Hmm.
because we have reached at a very, very critical stage where maybe the law should be introduced, no bonfire.
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
I'm of this opinion. See,
Right.
okay, I'll tell you what we do now. We also, when it is cold, we
Hmm.
have got a barbecue grill, which is big, huge,
Hmm.
and we use charcoal briquettes, which
Right.
are made of coconut shells.
Hmm.
So we don't burn charcoal, which is the yield of wood.
Yes. Okay.
So either you do that, or we can use cow dung cakes, because
Hmm.
we buy from the villagers,
Hmm.
and that money goes to the village, and then also we help the micro level economics
Right.
and economy, and we also feel happy, and we don't burn wood.
Yeah. Because there's always an alternative, right, Captain
There is
Sharma?
always an alternative. Only thing is, people have to be willing to do it. People should be taught about it.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. And do you think that the new age traveler, and I'm saying a new age traveler in specific context now, that after 2 years, of whatever COVID has done to all of us, right? Do you see their mindsets changing in the short term and in the long run?
Say again.
I said with the 2 years being a lockdown period, and with no travel happening, I'm calling it the new age of of conscious travel. Do you see the traveler's mindset changing to that, to adapting to that?
It has changed, but remember, human beings have got a very short memory.
Hmm.
People
Yeah.
have already started forgetting that there was something called corona. I
Right.
remember when the first lockdown was there, everybody
Hmm.
thought humanity will disappear, we will not
That's
live
right.
anymore.
That's
But
right.
now, if you ask anybody, they have forgotten there was something called corona.
Yes. Correct.
So,
Yeah.
but yes, people have started various kind of tourism. The new terminologies have come out: staycation, workation, work
Hmm.
from the hills, work from home, revenge tourism. So it
Hmm.
is all selling gimmick.
Yeah. It's all marketing, you're saying.
Yeah, marketing. And let
Yeah.
me tell you, I still have to find very few people in the market. Like,
Hmm.
I will tell you my own experience. Um, it becomes very difficult to convince people that you have to be eco-friendly.
Hmm.
I mean,
Correct.
we, I mean, people don't want to be. People
Yes.
want their own comfort first. People want their own pleasure first. When they come on a trip, they say, "It's my pleasure. Why?
Hmm.
Why should I bother about nature conservation? You bother about it, not me."
Okay. Okay.
So
Yeah.
that mindset has to be changed. People have to be educated. People have to be, they have to be made sensitive for this.
Yeah. I think we're all creatures of bad habits, because
Yeah, yeah,
bad habits sink faster than good habits.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Correct. On that, since we are talking about changing mindsets, and the people participation should be authentic and genuine, in terms of supporting nature and nature driven tourism. What do you think is needed, Captain Sharma, to make ecotourism sustainable? Everyone's talking about sustainability. It's this big word that is floating around, but that word requires a lot of, like you said, change of mindset and a certain habit building. What do you think is required?
There is no one single solution to it. We
Hmm.
need a lot of people coming together, monitoring agency, not
Okay.
primarily from the government. there should be independent people, and also before that, sitting together and designing the resorts and camps and all, and terms and conditions for them and the guidelines.
Correct.
So also educating people, and also maybe some kind of incentive for the traveler
Mm-hmm.
and some kind of incentive for the host, that
Hmm.
if you as a traveler, you are eco-friendly traveler,
Right.
you will get some incentive. Maybe I don't know where, and maybe the way, airlines, they give you flying hours.
Yeah.
You get so many flying hours, so every holiday you get some marks, you get some
Yes.
numbers, you
Correct.
accrue that, and
Hmm.
you get maybe discount at on the fifth location.
Hmm.
And the eco-friendly lodges, camps, resorts should be given some incentive. But let
Okay.
me tell you also, we need to learn one thing, that there is nothing called 100% eco-friendly.
Hmm. Okay.
Now, the biggest misconception is, see, you need to use somewhere wood in the building. You're using solar power. That is
Right.
also not 100% eco-friendly. So we need to find ways which could be best possible eco-friendly. We
Hmm.
can't say 100% eco-friendly.
Correct.
So monitoring agency independent, the guidelines, and then we need to educate people and hosts also.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So you
And
see,
let me tell you, very
yes.
small things like
Yes.
people need to be educated. Like in my camp,
Hmm.
I tell my team, water is like my blood. Don't use it too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my water faucets and taps are of very small diameter,
Okay.
maybe 2 to 3 only,
Hmm.
because we realized when we used to travel in our own caravan that you really waste a lot of water while washing your hands and mugs and toothbrushing.
Yeah.
You need
Yes.
very little water.
Yeah.
Now
I
I'll
agree.
tell you, I got 1000 liters of water in my tank,
Hmm.
and I had filled it on the 5th of April,
Okay.
and today it is 16th, I think, and my
Yes.
water tanker is still one third there, and I have
Hmm.
hosted 5 people for 4 nights.
Wow. Yeah.
So
Today's
we
April.
washed utensils, we did cleaning, we did everything.
Correct.
But I really use, because the outlet, I have made small outlets. Even if
Hmm.
somebody wants to waste water, cannot waste water. So this is one
Yes.
small example. So electricity, water, washing, linen. So
Hmm.
we must educate people. Maybe you should not use white linen, because white linen needs washing, too much of washing.
Right.
Maybe you should have a method where your linen after one usage has been sanitized but not washed,
Hmm.
because
Okay.
you will
Okay.
waste detergent, you will consume water, and that's not really eco-friendly. But I'm saying, don't become eco-friendly at the cost of your hygiene.
Yes.
No compromise on hygiene. But getting paranoid about hygiene, making a style statement out of hygiene,
Hmm.
that's not really good for eco tourism, and it will not be sustainable. To make sustainable, we have to find ways together, not one
Yes.
solution.
Yes.
So incentive has to be there to a
Correct.
traveler and to the host, and we need to make guidelines,
Hmm.
not those guidelines which are not viable.
Hmm. 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 Okay.
Now in India, there is no experience of caravan tourism, and that's the reason in one or two states, I just read the news, the caravan policy has failed within months only,
I
because
see.
they have no experience of caravan tourism, and
Correct.
it is not viable.
Hmm. And
So
I'm sure that Inder Jit Singh also will have a lot of things to share with us because he's been such a passionate eco warrior himself. And as I
yeah,
said, having stayed with them at Spashram in Rishikesh, I'm looking forward when I come to India, to do a trip with you too, because I think these are the stories that need to be told to the rest of the world as well. In the true spirit of it, like I keep saying, actions and deeds matter. So, on this note, let me get IJ, as we call him, is online with us to join in. Good
All
evening.
right, good evening.
Good evening, IJ, and happy Easter to you.
Happy Easter and wonderful to be here and also to listen to my friend and colleague Suresh. And
Yes,
people like us in the field, the passion oozes through. So it's good. It's very good to have heard Suresh's
thank
story
you.
again.
Thank you
भाई
for
मैं तो
making
ऊपर मत चढ़ो भाई ऊपर मत चढ़ो.
thank you for making the introductions. To that
Sure.
Captain
No
Sharma.
no 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 no.
Too. All right. So getting straight into the conversation, IJ, can you tell us? Because we've heard so much about Green Dot expeditions. Tell us about how you came about with Spashram. And everything that you've been doing around with it.
Well, I'll first draw some commonalities because the subject is similar, I mean, is the same. And Suresh and I have, it transpires, similar backgrounds.
Yes.
So my background also was as an army brat. And I traveled as a very impressionable schoolboy at the age of 16 and 17 in the entire Northeast with my father, who was in the Assam Rifles, which is a very
Yes.
frontier force.
Yes.
So there one got the opportunity to really get up close and personal with tribals, who were still in a very distant age, from
Okay.
where we are today,
Right.
and in very intense jungle and biodiversity. And that really was the crucible which created the love for adventure and love for travel in me. And this
Okay.
was all the way from Manipur to Arunachal to Nagaland to Meghalaya, some of India's finest and most diverse states, even to this
Yes.
day.
Yes.
So it was, pretty much a given that either I joined the army or tea gardens or so on. But I ended up becoming a naturalist at Tiger Top's Jungle Lodge in Nepal. And a year later, in 1983, I founded Tiger Paw Adventures, which
Yes.
was the company that through which I ran all my tribal and other expeditions. Now, people like us come into adventure because of a love for nature, not because of business. The business compulsions kick in much later.
Right.
And so similarly, not knowing much of business but loving adventure, I began Tiger Paw Adventures, and we ended up, training the army, the navy, the police, the British Army, the Royal Air Force in Arunachal. Then we ran, and you had to bludgeon your way. In 1983, Indians either went on pilgrimage or they went. The very rich Indians went to Switzerland. There was
Right.
no credit card. There was no four-wheel drive. There was no
Right.
satellite TV. There was no 5-day week. All the ingredients you need for a very good holiday.
Right. Right.
So it took me 5 years to convince American Express, whose customers were card holders at the embassy, to start the very first weekend adventure holidays.
Okay.
It took me 10 years to convince a woman called Irma Turtle, who ran tribal anthropology expeditions in Irian Jaya, Timbuktu, Sarawak, Borneo, etc.
Okay.
And for those 10 years, she kept saying, no, no, India is very modern and so on. And I said, just send 4 people on a trial trip, and we took them to Orissa. Now, Orissa also is one of India's finest states with unique tribal life, and
Correct.
that trip became Irma Turtle's most popular trip for the next 5 years.
Okay.
And then we ran, team building and leadership programs for American Express, etc. So what I'm trying to say is that it was a very unstructured industry at the time, and one had to bludgeon and force one's way into creating a market and creating products and creating an industry.
Correct.
So in 1984, I created what was the very first audio visual on adventure, which Air India took a shine to, and it was then screened all over the world.
Okay.
And
Wow.
yeah, so we then ran fishing trips in Kashmir, long-range expeditions of 21 days, trans-Himalayan expeditions, etc. And that is basically the background. Then with the American Embassy school educational trips, British school educational trips in the field, whether skiing or horse riding or horse safari, etc. And in 95, I set up the company in Canada to run expeditions in Africa and South America, etc.
Okay.
But in 1988, having seen the writing on the wall in Kashmir, I decided to set up a rafting company. And I
Hmm.
came to the Upper Ganges and
Okay.
was one of the pioneers of the rafting industry.
Hmm.
And we tied up with a Canadian company and we were the first to run paddle rafts on the Ganges on the 21st of September, which was in high water.
Okay.
And that is how I came to acquire the land that Spashram River Mountain Retreat is currently on.
Hmm.
And I was the first outsider, by the way, to buy land in the area.
Okay.
And the reason was I was so frustrated by certain local circumstances. I said I want to buy land so far down the mountain that no one's going to come and bother me. So you
Hmm.
remember the path that you walk down,
Yes, I
and
know.
that's the reason why I
Yeah.
kept it slightly inaccessible,
Yeah.
because
Correct.
you want a certain genre of people to come to you. It's
Yes.
not for everybody.
Yes, that is
And
true.
now to so in but to just step back, I was very committed to ecotourism. In fact, while I was training the army in Arunachal, I happened to see a transit camp where a lot of the trash went into the river, and
Hmm.
that is what prompted me to try and do something about such pristine areas not suffering from environmental abuse.
Right.
And
Right.
so I applied for the Rolex Award for Enterprise, and I was rejected. But the
Hmm.
next year, I was one of the first 5 Indians to be selected for the Asia Foundation's Environmental Fellowship Program. And the
Wow.
year later, I was the point man for my company, which tied up with a US NGO, to win an Australasia wide award called the Biodiversity Conservation Network Award,
Hmm.
which was for sustainability planning through ecotourism in the Eastern Himalaya, which was in Sikkim,
Wow.
I mean in Arunachal.
That
And the
was
Sikkim model of tourism today dates back to that particular, activity.
timeline. Yeah.
But
Okay.
anyway, to come to Spashram,
Yes.
in the old days between 95 and 98 or early 2000, we just ran it as an adventure camp. So the
Hmm.
army, the navy, the police, and corporates, blue chip companies for outdoor
Yeah.
management, team building, leadership. And even in the outdoor management, we were the first company really in India to offer this
Hmm.
outside. And I tied up with an ex British Army commando from the SAS, Tom Bufton, to render these programs. But subsequently, Spashram, when I went to Canada in '95, I shut it sort of, I kept it on a back burner.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
and I just kept nurturing what I call a microbiosphere,
Okay.
because you've been there. We, over 27 years, have planted about 30,000 trees and plants,
Hmm. Yeah.
and of which perhaps 15,000 must have died because there was no electricity, water was very difficult, it was very hot, but still 10 to 15,000 survived
Hmm.
and have provided a fantastic biodiversity, because today it's a bird's paradise.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And
I saw that.
right.
I
So
thought.
my philosophy has been at Spashram to redefine luxury.
Hmm.
Now, like Suresh mentioned, everyone wants their comfort,
Yes.
but everyone needs education. So
Correct.
my endeavor has been to get people to change their definition or accept a change in definition of what luxury is. Luxury
Hmm.
is not necessarily an air conditioner or a television.
Yes. I agree.
Luxury is to be able to get, the Himalayan blue bang magpie outside your windowsill. Now
Yes.
that is luxury, which very few hotels that I know can afford you.
Correct.
Uh, and also, for example, you've seen the design at Spashram. All the timber that we've used
Hmm.
is either dead wood, or it is floated down the river, or
Okay.
it is recycled. So, for
Hmm.
example, if you recall the wooden railing along the veranda,
Yes. Yeah. I saw most
that
of that.
was
Correct.
made out of the wooden crates that came from South Africa, containing the bio toilets that we got. So we
Hmm.
got some bio toilets which are water reverse. and where all the debris, each time you lift the seat,
Yeah.
there's a shaft that drives all the effluent back. That's collected in a mesh bag, and that becomes fertilizer.
Okay.
And so those bio toilets were installed, on our site in some cases for the tents, and the wooden grating became either the paneling along the floor or
Yeah.
the banister along the.
Correct.
Similarly, the timber doorways were all, had floated
Now,
down river, etc., etc.
you've done a great job, IJ, on Spashram. Because as I said, I've lived there, I've experienced it
This much.
myself. Yeah, and it looks gorgeous. And I keep telling, so when I've even so a few times when I keep posting, also my friends keep saying, "Oh, where is this place?" Right? And I keep telling them, "You got to go to Rishikesh and then go to your place."
Right.
On that small note, I have Dr. Hugh who's joining us from Malaysia, because as I said, he's a very keen traveler himself. Though I'm not too sure whether he's done the eco and the nature part of it. Though I know that he's a very strong cycling enthusiast. So I'm going to get him online. Just hold on, IJ, for a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, so don't go away because we have lots to
Okay.
talk about. So let me just get Dr. Hugh online. Dr. Hugh, there you are.
Hi, Ethel. Hi,
Hi.
good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. I'm seeing you after a long time.
Yeah. Been
I
a long
missed you.
time.
Yeah, I missed you last Saturday, last Sunday. We had a
hmm
really good, conversation on tourism from the Malaysia perspective.
Yeah,
So,
I was away on holiday with my family, so I couldn't join you last Saturday. But yeah, yeah, I'm last
yeah,
Sunday. I mean, yeah,
awesome. Yeah, correct. So awesome. So today is a very engaging conversation on the. Of course, we're all talking about incredible India, now that borders have opened up, in Malaysia and
yeah,
India, and people are traveling. But ecotourism is the core of our conversation today, because I have these two veterans, who are really soldiering their philosophy of ecotourism. And of course, all of us know that that Mac is so devoted to making sure that even when you're traveling, your beauty needs to be on point, or how you look and how you take care of your skin needs to be point. So very quickly, Dr. Hugh, can you tell us what are the core essentials that we need to keep in mind while traveling, especially outdoors?
yeah. I think if talking about adventure kind of traveling and urban or shopping or tourism kind of traveling is a little
Hmm.
bit different. We're talking about ecotourism today and talk about adventures and outdoors. I
Yes.
still think that because if you let's say you're traveling overseas, you
Hmm.
will need a few essential items, which I think it will help you a lot to take care of your skin, even if you're going into the outdoors, into the wilds,
Yes.
and doing some adventuring. So for me, there are a few essential items, and the first one I think is actually a very good cleanser. And
Hmm.
everyone's skin is a little bit different. So I find that when we travel, whether I travel, for adventures for outdoors kind of a holiday, or an
Right.
indoors, more urban kind of holiday, cleansers are very important because you don't know what people are going to give you. When
Yeah.
on the airplane, in the hotel, they will give you cleansers, but sometimes
Yes.
it might not suit your skin, and then it might
Hmm.
be too harsh on your skin. And if you
Right.
got a good cleanser, I think it's essential that you either bring the whole bottle along, or you pack it in a small little traveling bottle and have it with you. So I think that's
Hmm.
very handy. That's one thing. The other thing find very useful is because if you're traveling, most of the
Hmm.
time you will encounter maybe a little bit harsh environment. Even on the plane, it's very
Right.
dry. You get
Yes.
dehydrated skin. So a good
Correct.
hydrator, it doesn't have to be a creamy lotion kind of moisturizer or or something very creamy, but it could be a hydrator with hyaluronic acid, and
Hmm.
that helps boost moisture on your skin. And I think
Hmm.
that would be very helpful, and you will feel much more comfortable when you're traveling. And same thing when you get to a destination, if
Hmm.
you have it and you use it every day, you'll find your skin will thank you so much more if
Yeah.
you have that kind of product with you. The other
Correct.
thing is actually I find also quite useful is to have a kind of serum with maybe that vitamin C content. Now, this is
Hmm.
especially if you're going outdoors. If you're going outdoors where there's a lot of sun exposure, right? Vitamin
Correct.
C serums actually help to be a shield barrier. It
Hmm.
protects the skin because it's an antioxidant. It will actually
Hmm.
absorb most of the problems, the free radicals caused by the sun's rays, right? When it hits the
Yes.
skin,
Yeah.
that will help to repair the skin. Even besides protecting, it helps repair and generate collagen as well. And
Correct.
then lastly, but not not least, is of course a good sunblock. So I
Yeah,
think
he
anyone
picked up on
traveling
that.
anywhere,
Yeah.
whether you're going to be outdoors or not, and especially if you're outdoors, of course, and even if you're
Mm,
traveling and going just to a hotel, if you're going, to do a tennis or do outdoor walk or jog, you
right.
probably need a good sunblock as well. Again, that's very personal. Some
Correct.
people find certain sunblocks a bit too thick, a bit too
Mm,
creamy, which might clog the pores in the skin. So if you
yes.
find a good sunblock, do take it along with you.
Mm,
Otherwise, you have to go and buy it when you reach your destination.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think those are
Because
the essentials for me for when I travel.
yeah, I'm guilty for not using sunblock because I'm like, oh my God, how many more products? That kind of thing, But yeah,
Yeah, but it's quite basic. I think just with these few products, right? Anything else is extra. You can of
mm,
course pack all the rest of your serums and creams and essences and all that you. Some people have multi step regime regimen,
correct.
sorry, and
Yes.
so you can bring those along. But I find these are the essentials, which
Mm,
is a cleanser, a hydrator, a good
yes.
vitamin C serum, and a good sunblock.
Correct. So yeah, Malaysia right now is preparing for the great for the great Hari Raya festival, and this will be my I think my technically my third Hari Raya, but it's very different this time because we're all out. Everyone's doing buka puasa. I'm also kind of going in to kind of figure out what is the food around and stuff like that. The Mac Clinic has some really exciting Hari Raya offers. I
Yeah,
heard. Please
yeah,
tell
yeah.
me
So,
because
so this,
I don't.
I think this year, Hari Raya, finally, I think people are very optimistic in Malaysia.
Mm,
I mean, we celebrate all kinds of festivals in Malaysia, and Hari
yeah.
Raya is one of the biggest ones because a large part of the population, right, large percentage is Muslim population, and
Correct.
I think they're very happy. I think they're probably going a little bit more all out this
Mm.
year to
Yeah, they're
celebrate
all over.
Hari Raya, and
Yeah,
good because
everyone's.
the people during celebrations in Malaysia, people all go and visit their families. A lot will travel even out of state
Yes,
to go back
correct.
home to their kampongs, their villages. Yeah.
Yeah,
So we,
yeah.
we, we do have something to prepare people for their skin and to help them with this preparing the skin, to look the
Mm,
best before the festivals. And
mm,
I think now's a good time. Of course, most of them are fasting, and maybe they will come after they fast, or maybe on weekends, or maybe when they're not fasting, or maybe just
correct.
just just after they stop that. Then they can come for the treatments. The
Mm,
treatments that we have, and the the offer we have this time is actually very different from previous times because previous
okay.
times it's very specific to certain treatment, but this time we're actually opening up. So do come and find out what the offer is. There are two packages. One is
Mm,
for around 2,000, and the other one
okay.
is 5,000. But it's actually
Okay.
something like a buffet where you come and you choose whatever you want, and
Oh,
for each of that pricing you get 20% off. So I think it's a very good offer, and
mm,
do make use of it because we only have it until the end of this month.
okay.
Maybe extend to next month if it's popular. We'll see how
Mm.
it goes. But that's
And
uh, that's that's a, that's a very good offer at the moment from us at
for
Mac
men
Clinic.
and women, right? For
For
men
men
and
and
women.
women, yes, both.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to put out the word to my friend circles too,
Mm.
which are of course which include very very skin conscious men. I like that that they're all taking care of themselves. Okay, that is
Yep.
good. That's good. So 2,000 and 5,000, you said, right? That's packages.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Correct.
Okay. I'm going to get back to my travel conversation because I have both these gentlemen waiting to kind of to share
Yeah, it
more.
sounds very interesting. I was following a little bit of the talk. Yeah, it sounds all like a very adventurous and pioneering men. Breaking new ground, sort of like
Yeah,
me.
yeah. And that's why, Dr. Hugh, it is time to start making your plans to go to India.
Will do.
Incredible.
Will do.
India waits, as you keep saying. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and so enjoy the rest of the show, and
Yes.
thanks for having me on again. Thanks, Ethel.
Thank
Bye.
you, Dr. Hugh. I'm going to see you soon. Bye bye.
See you soon.
Yes. Wow, that was really good. So I make sure that I have all my four essentials with me when I travel because I'm usually outdoors and I like taking care of my skin. So,
As you should.
as I should, yes. So I was talking when I was talking to Captain Sharma, basically because he's so passionate about what he's doing as well, and the truck concept sounds awesome. I'm also kind of a
Right.
little kind of surprised how he has this entire theory about not using wood. Uh,
Right.
it, even though bonfires are so romantic, to kind of cuddle and have a shot of your rum or a whiskey or something like
Right,
that.
right,
Kind of got
right.
me thinking too. Um, uh, you've been so passionately, fronting this entire movement yourself, in Rishikesh, with what you're doing, with your property. What is your actual kind of, take on ecotourism to make it sustainable, especially now that travel is all open, post COVID?
Well, it's a very vast and deep subject, Ethel. Too much to really get into
Hmm.
here because it
Yeah, but
relates to,
very briefly, for
yeah,
example.
well, well, there are a couple of things I'll say. One is, like, you see, you have different genre of educational levels.
Hmm.
Now, like people like Suresh and I have entered the field out of a passion. We're reasonably well educated, so we understand all the nuances that are involved.
Yes.
Now, your first soft and impressionable, winnable audience will be people who are equally educated
Hmm.
and who you can win around to understanding the need and the benefits
Correct.
of this. And in some cases, like Suresh said, even the lower, or less educated, if they can see practical benefit, they
Hmm.
would do
Hmm.
it.
Yes.
But also it needs, a lot of imagination, and frankly, it needs a lot of ground knowledge by
Yes.
policy makers.
Hmm.
And this is where the government comes in, because I'll give you an example from a different field. When I was in school in Shillong, my classmates were Naga tribals. My teacher was a brother D'Souza. On a Sunday, he would go out with them, and on Monday, he would come back into the nature study class
Hmm. Hmm.
with a huge glass bottle with some sand, and it had a green pit viper, one of India's most poisonous snakes.
Hmm.
So, what I'm saying is that teachers of that time had the experience.
Correct.
And teachers today don't have that experience, and neither does the law or the liability allow you to, do something like this.
Hmm.
Now, I'm giving this example because I'm saying that in policy, in tourism, etc., you need people who actually have ground experience. You
Yes. Yeah.
cannot
I.
have paper pushers who don't
Yeah.
understand the
Correct.
concept, and going on one raft trip doesn't make them an expert on rafting.
Right.
Now, you see, for example, just talking about Spashram.
Hmm.
I was one of the pioneers of the industry, but I stopped rafting. Today, 5 years ago or 8 years ago, the National Green Tribunal put a stop on all beach camps.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now, because of pollution in the Ganga. Now, I had seen the writing on the wall 25 years ago. I knew that it was not legal or not sustainable, which is
Hmm.
why I bought land 27 years ago.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now, but the problem is that today, I'll give you very practical tourism examples. The annual revenue in Scotland from trout fishing is 2 billion sterling pounds.
Okay.
The annual earning in bird watching from the Audubon Society of America is 10 million US dollars.
Hmm.
And yet, the state of Uttarakhand or other states are not really doing anything
Hmm.
for pursuing these activities, which
Right.
would bring in high revenue.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
instead, because you see, you look at it from the point of view of a young villager, his aspiration only goes so far as getting a rafting license.
Right.
That
Correct.
for him has got him his, he's there, so to
Yes.
speak. But the rafting stretch on the Ganges is only the normal run is only 32 kilometers.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Now in Canada, etc., if you have 30 kilometers, there'd only be about 2 licenses issued,
Correct.
because what are
Yeah.
people coming for the space? But
Right.
here, about 200 licenses are issued, so the
Hmm.
quality is absolutely downgraded.
Correct.
And so policy needs to take these things into account, encourage people for bird watching, say no more licenses for rafting,
Hmm.
encourage
Hmm.
people for angling. But
Correct.
there's too much hypocrisy. So for example, angling, is catch and release. You're not killing it. You've got barbless hooks, all sorts of
Hmm.
things. So you should. The Ganga was known for the Maser, the big tiger of the river, which you only find in Malaysia, Burma, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and India and Pakistan. Nowhere
Correct.
else in the world. The English considered it the best sporting fish in the world. But it has, and you find it in the Ram Ganga in Corbett Park.
Hmm.
Now, the spawning rivers. Now, I'm going to tell you another thing on policy. Is very important because partly why these fish have got depleted is
Yeah.
because of all the dams and barrages.
Yeah, sure,
Now,
of
this,
course. Yeah.
now this is, I'm coming to ecotourism because angling is an ecotourism activity, a
Correct.
hardcore ecotourism activity with high bucks. Now, but when the Tiri Dam was built, all the spawning rivers got trapped, and the fish have got trapped there. They are not free flowing, and then all the barrages down. Now, I'm fighting a case in the National Green Tribunal, and do you know I've given two examples, one from America, one from Norway, where they are demolishing their dams.
Yeah, correct.
Because why? So that the fish can flow again.
But then,
Now that
I
takes
do.
testosterone, and
Yes,
that is what governments need to do.
correct.
If you want to do it. So because the bucks are there, the ecology is there, the ecotourism,
It takes it.
but
Yeah, I think it will take constant, constant advocating, as I keep calling it, right?
oh, of course.
Because
We've had Meda Patkar, we've had Sundarlal Bahugna, we have
yes,
all of these people, but
yes,
unfortunately, big business does not recognize this.
correct.
And
Yeah.
now I'm giving a talk in a few days to a very big conglomerate which manufactures insulation. Now, one of the thoughts that came to me, buildings with insulation.
Sure, sure.
Now, from Spashram, where you've been, I want to tell you what I've learned. That the dry wall, what the locals build in Himachal, Suresh will know also, dry wall. Just put together a wall, let it sit. It takes its weight, finds its sense of gravity, and it has settled for years. A dry wall, which is whitewashed, is something loved by animals and birds. So the
Yeah,
langur
because
will come, the birds will come.
yeah,
A concrete wall will repel them.
correct. Yes,
Now,
of
I
course.
have all whitewashed limestone dry walls, and
Yeah,
it's a pleasure to see. What are you going for? You're going to see not
correct.
just the scenery, you're going to see living nature.
That is
And
true.
if your wall is not going to be attractive to that bird, what are you going to see? You'll just see across the river.
And that's
But
why
that,
IJ, yeah, then that's why we need advocates, passionate advocates like you and Captain Sharma to keep doing it, So at least, as I keep saying,
no, no,
with
but
constant pressure.
Ethel, since you got the platform, it's your platform. Suresh and I are both in our mid 60s. So keep doing it is going to be tough. So you've got to urge your younger audience and
Yes,
the government sit-ins who are looking that they should pick up the baton of
yes,
what we're
correct.
suggesting.
Correct. Yeah, you're absolutely right, and I completely agree. And happily, we are seeing that the younger generation, millennials, are getting a little kind of conscious now,
Yes,
because
yes,
data also shows that that they
right.
are the ones who want to kind of give back to society, want to contribute more, are becoming more aware of what their entire role also is in terms of their place in the
Right,
universe. and
right.
uh, and and for that I think change takes time. I'm sure even Captain Sharma will agree. Change takes time because history shows us that
Yeah, of
change,
course.
yeah, change takes time. But the idea is to keep running the marathon. Like somebody so rightfully told me that in Malaysia here, asked me a very straight question saying, Ethel, are you a marathon runner? Because if you are a marathon runner, then you will not just drop the baton. You will
Right.
run, 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 and people who are marathon runners will also run with you. The idea is to kind of stick to the path. And
Right.
on that note, we're already kind of touching 60 minutes. Very quickly, if we can, if Captain Sharma and you can tell me, what trends do you foresee, in the immediate future when it comes to eco travel from the India context in particular and globally in general? What trends do you see happening?
Well, I mean, I'll be quick. I mean, Suresh, I'm sure will agree, but basically what he said was that, people have forgotten Corona. People
Hmm.
want to go out and have fun at
Yeah.
the cost of environment. But that having been said, there is one underlying thing which is age old. There's
Right.
something called the biophilia hypothesis, which says in tourism that man's inherent nature is
Hmm.
to want to go out and nurture his soul in the outdoors.
Hmm.
That will never change. That
Hmm.
cannot change. What can change, and I've been approached by people, is to provide them videos
Hmm.
of our outdoor location and bird song, etc., to be
Correct.
bringing it in onto a 3D screen on the, with iSets.
Hmm.
And while they're having a massage in Delhi, to be looking at this. I mean, but what I'm trying to say is that the outdoors you cannot take away. So the
Right.
outdoors are always going to be important. People outside, at least educated people, whether in India or globally, have
Hmm.
realized that the values, that they may have placed on other things are not as important as
Right.
nature, nurture,
Yeah.
family, all of those. And
Correct.
but I see in Uttarakhand a less aware audience, the younger audience,
Hmm.
the very young audience, or let's say 19, 25, who are simply out for a party, drinking, binge drinking, etc.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now
Hmm.
that you cannot help, because there's also so much stress in society today that these people have no other outlet. But the
Correct.
more nature is introduced into the classroom, into the family activity,
Hmm.
those kids will be better grounded than other
Yes.
kids who are removed from nature.
Yeah.
And
Correct.
this is what we need to see. So now, for example, global trend or India trend, talking about whether it's a marketing gimmick or not, but there are people who've said that, had you had a good Wi-Fi connection,
Hmm.
we would have stayed for weeks and worked from home. Now today we've got a good Wi-Fi connection at Spashram, but
Right.
earlier part of the policy was to disconnect.
Hmm. I know.
You don't
Yeah.
want a connection at all. So now
Correct.
we able to give anyone what they want. So
So
it's yeah,
compromise becomes the key.
right, right.
Right. Captain Sharma, what do you have to say in terms of what you
Yeah,
just
like Inderjit said, the young children today, they think that drinking and dancing and the music is the only way to have fun and de-stress yourself. But let me tell you, I have organized New Year parties without liquor, without music, without non-veg,
Hmm.
and I charged them three times than the normal. And
Hmm.
people said, "Wow, this was the most rewarding holiday they ever had."
Right.
Because we need to, you know, create more people like this, replicate people like me and Indrajit. Those can show people the real
Yes.
outdoor.
Yeah.
Like I tell you, a family came from Delhi to me in Ladakh. They said, "What are we going to do here?"
Hmm.
I said, "Mr. Arora, you are going to watch something what you will not get in Delhi. Can you
Correct.
see this crystal clear stream in Delhi? Can you
Hmm.
see these mountains in Delhi? Can you breathe this kind of fresh air in Delhi? And
Correct.
I am going to give you a cup of tea with hot snacks and pakoras on the
Hmm.
on the banks of this stream."
Right.
He said yes. And then I said, "You can come on an experiential holiday
Correct.
and use this toilet which is used by the Ladakhis. It's called a dry pit toilet, and it's the most eco-friendly."
So
And
travel, we all agree. We're all agreeing that travel more and more now are becoming all experiential experiences,
yeah,
and I think from looking at the data that I've been reading, and there's all reports that are coming in from international, kind of travel studies and stuff, that the new conscious traveler is looking for unforgettable memories, making unforgettable memories or creating unforgettable experiences for them because those are lifelong. And I commend both of you gentlemen on the fact that you are putting in so much of effort to ensure that you're going out of your way, your own personal resources, maybe sometimes even a lack of support that happens in, but the entire philosophy of doing what you love and therefore loving what you do, I think it just reflects and resonates with the two of you.
It's very rewarding, Ethel. I mean, to be able to,
I agree.
protect or, or be one with nature is one of the most rewarding experiences you
Contribution.
can have. Yes.
Yeah, the contribution I can see is huge from both of you, and I'm sure that today you've inspired people who are online with us,
Well, we
who
hope
will,
so. We hope
who
so.
will be inspired watching this show when it gets shared around. Please do share it widely among your your communities as well, because I'm all for creating going back to nature, forest bathing, forest using the nature itself as a healing tool for our own holistic wellness and care. And thank you so much. Thank you so
Not
much.
at all. Thank
Ethel,
you for having
I have
us.
one sentence to say to
Yes.
all our viewers:
Hmm.
learn to sacrifice for something, the
Hmm.
nature and others. Learn to
Correct.
live for others. Learn to live for the planet. Don't be selfish. You will be a
Correct.
happy man, happy woman.
Wow, that is very powerful. And I'm sure IJ has some advice to give as well.
No, well, no, no, I don't need to really say much, but one statement that I make, because
Hmm.
today the political divides are so sharp, and what I say is that the only thing one should be fanatical about
Yeah.
is really protecting the environment. That is
Yes.
my,
Yes,
That is really
one.
awesome.
yes,
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is the awesome. That is very awesome. And I think yeah, that is like a beautiful slogan to have as well, IJ. Thank you
Not at
for sharing.
all. Our pleasure. Thank you so much, Ethel, for your time and effort.
Thank
thank you
you.
very much.
All right. Bye
And
bye. And
Captain
happy Easter again.
and happy Easter, Captain Sharma. Thank you, because
Thank you very much.
you really kind of gave us your time, and I really love the story. So I'm looking forward to meet you
Thank
when
you.
I'm back in India.
Yeah,
Bye,
sure,
gentlemen.
most welcome.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a great evening. Bye bye.
Thank
Bye, and
Thank
thank
you,
you.
Ajay. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow, that was really awesome. I myself learned so much from this conversation because, as I keep saying, gentlemen of this quality is completely rare to find. And when you have them, you ought to celebrate them because they keep getting better. Like good, great Scotch or whiskey, they just get better with age, and their passion kind of really stands out because. The passion is lived out by example and through action and deeds. So thank you everyone. Thank you everyone for joining me. Thank you to all my audience who will watch the video as later on as we also share it. Please share it with your green communities and your other conscious traveler communities as well, because it is really the time to kind of give back to nature wherever that whichever country that you are and you plan to travel. We mentioned incredible India because that is home country to us. Malaysia also has such beautiful greenery and beautiful scenic vistas that I keep saying that we also have to contribute to keep it safe from plastic and garbage and unnecessary trash. Sometimes when I'm also traveling in Malaysia, it really kind of breaks my heart. So let's become more conscious individuals. Let us try to reduce our carbon footprint as much as we can. Let us know how to recycle and reuse, and sometimes and remove if not required as well, where we could cause damage to our surroundings, whether it's ocean, rivers, or whether it's even garbage segregation. On that note, thank you so much. Thank you to Dr. Hugh for joining us. Thank you to the Mac Clinic for being such a wonderful partner with me on the Heart to Heart with Ethel Da Costa. My Leadership Soul series really empowers me, and I hope that it empowers you too. Have an awesome night. Thank you so much for joining in, and I'm going to see you next Sunday. Good night.